Everybody needs you, they just don't know who you are. Usually, when we first get started and want to build a scalable automation agency, we have limiting beliefs such as, what if I'm not good enough? I don't have case studies. What if I fail? And trust me, you're not alone because I totally had those exact limiting beliefs myself, and I've managed to grow a sales automation agency to 139K a month. So what I'm going to do in this video is give you real practical advice to get up and running even if you don't have any case studies. That way you stop being paralyzed and get what you want out of life. So let's do it. So there are many obstacles that we have when we first get started with AI and automation or building an automation business in general. And one of them is I don't have social proof. I don't have case studies. I've never done this before. But let me tell you guys something. That's almost never the case, and I'm going to explain to you why, okay? The second thing is, in talking with hundreds of beginners, freelancers, and even people who are doing $1 million a month, right, in my circle, I don't want to just be teaching lead gen, how to build sales systems, etc., right, or automation in general. I want to help people see their own value, right? Because this is going to snowball into them building a successful automation or sales agency. It's going to snowball into them being able to actually sell things rather than just being a builder and building automations all day. And my primary goal is to have so much belief in a person that they borrow my belief to build their own belief, right? Because you guys need to understand that your belief system is going to shape your identity, right? And your identity is going to shape all your actions, and your actions are going to be conducive to the goal, which is building a successful automation business, sales systems business, achieve financial freedom, location freedom, whatever you want deep in your heart, right? Treat this as a conversation that we are having, you and me, right now, okay? So the first thing we're going to be talking about, and I want you guys to pay attention to this, which is you are never starting from zero. You're just starting from your own story. And let me explain to you in detail what I mean by that. Now, I know this really hit deep, right? Isn't it? Like now that you're thinking about it, you're like, yeah, true, right? Now, let me just explain this in detail for you, okay? So I want you guys to understand, okay? And I took some notes. I want you guys to understand, right? That everyone, right, in planet Earth has their own unique color. Now that you are watching this, yes, you have your own unique angle, your unique background, your own story, right? Your own way of seeing the world, right? That's entirely yours and no one can take this from you. And most of the time, the thing that you're trying to hide, let's just be honest, the thing that you're trying to hide, that's exactly what makes you valuable. Okay? Now let that sink in. And once you understand that, once you learn that when you tap into that treasure, like it's a resource, and I like to call it the infinite abundance, okay? There's more than enough for everybody to have more than enough, and it will still be more than enough left over, okay? It's truly yours and no one can take it from you, okay? Which is your own color, your own story. And you can totally apply this to building a successful automation business or like a sales system agency. And that's the way you stand out, okay? And let me give you guys a concrete example from someone who I personally know who is 19 years old and he makes 30K a month with his sales automation business, okay? His name is Aaron, and let me just walk you guys through his post, right? And it's all gonna make sense, okay? The first few months were tough and results were slow, but in February, I finally hit my first 10K a month. From there, I started charging more, landed bigger clients, and got a chance to work with major projects involving some of the top Spanish brands. Thanks to that, I scaled to 30K last month, and this month, I believe I can reach 40 to 45K. This feeling is surreal to me. I'm 19. I am still attending university, but I'm giving it all to keep growing this. I'm not sharing this to brag, but to show you what's possible when you stay committed and listen to those who are ahead of you. I would highly recommend you guys watch the podcast that I recorded with this guy. Love this guy to death. He's crushing it. So the beautiful part about this is that his first client, he literally hopped on a call and he said, I am a student. I built X, Y, and Z. I can do it for you too, right? Now, if you peel back the layers, guys, right? If you really think about it, like, and think about it logically, the reason that worked is because he differentiated himself from everyone. Okay? He used that student angle as his ammo, right? As his literal ammo and his little sword. And he went into the desert and he came in successful. This is the lesson that I want you guys to learn. So what happened is he differentiated himself from everyone and he created his own word, right? His own mantra. And you can too, because if you're watching this, right? Let's say you are watching this and you are a student, or maybe you're not a student. Maybe you've worked with any type of field. Maybe you worked in healthcare, IT, whatever field you've previously worked in. And even if you are an entrepreneur who wants to dive deep into the AI and automation space, well, guess what? That is your own true color. That is your color that no one can take from you, right? That's your story. So you can leverage that and use that, okay? Because we often think to ourselves that we've never done anything. When in reality, if you just think about it, you've done so much cool shit, right? That it becomes normal for you. But when you talk about this with other people, they're like, wow, you've done this? And you're completely unconscious about it because it just became normal to you, right? But for other people and other businesses, that thing has value, okay? So you need to keep reminding yourself that, okay? Because you need to understand you guys have value. You just need to showcase that to the world, right? And actually just go ahead and take action, which is the reason why I always say it, okay? So if you are literally in uni right now, right? Literally say, I am a student, okay? This is by default literally puts you in your own universe where you are the king/the queen. It's you. And try to visualize that right now that you're watching this, right? Try to visualize that. It makes sense, right? It's kind of like creating your own word and you differentiate yourself from everyone. And it's kind of like that black sheep, okay? It's kind of like that black sheep effect, okay? Another thing, let's say you've worked with any type of company. I can assure you, you fixed things that people didn't even notice. And you can literally say, I come from X field. I understand X, Y, and Z. Now I help businesses automate their outreach so they stop relying on spreadsheets and chaos. That's just an example. And now, boom, again, that's your color, right? That's your edge, that's your sword, and that's your proof, okay? Now, let me give you guys actionables because I don't want to just give you theory. Well, the first step you want to do is one, open a Google Doc and list every problem you've solved in that Google Doc. Right? It doesn't have to be crazy. Every problem that you've solved in your life, just put it in a Google Doc. Just put it in a list, okay? Just put it in that Google Doc, okay? Have you studied something in the university? List that. That's still an accomplishment. So it's your own thing, okay? For example, have you worked with a previous company before? Have you helped a friend with a project? If you've worked with a company in some field and you fixed something, we'll list that in that Google Doc. If you ever worked with a company or consulted with another company, even if it's a 9-to-5 or you freelanced before, okay? That's an accomplishment. What results have you gotten for yourself? Like, think about it. You've done so much cool things, right? And you just don't remember. Now that you remember them. So have you grown a social media page before? Anything really that you've done? Have you helped a friend with their business or like a project? If you are a student, have you worked with a school project? That's an accomplishment and you should be proud of yourself, right? Since you are watching this and you've watched some of my videos, well, even if you just followed along and you built a few automations, well, that puts you ahead of 99% of people in the entire planet, right? Because you guys have to understand, in 2025, you don't have to be great. You just have to be a little bit better than terrible, because most people cannot do anything. They're so distracted. They are chasing shiny ideas. They can't delay gratification. They can't think long term. So you don't need to be great, okay? You just need to be just a little, like a tiny bit better than terrible. So if you've watched my videos, you can take my blueprints, just slightly modify them and edit them and apply them to whatever your use case that you have. Well, guess what? They are yours now. I mean, think about it. So what's important here is that you do not need a Fortune 500 case study. Your student's project or your internal fix that you fix with a company that you've previously worked for is more than enough, okay? Step 2. So now that you've listed all of these things that you've previously done, well, you've listed them into the Google Doc. Well, step 2 now, this is where the magic happens. So step 2, translate that into the word. Now, I know you might be wondering, Saad, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, whatever accomplishment you've done, try to translate that into whatever that business or that niche that you're going for. So, for example, let's say you took some of my blueprints, right? Instead of saying I built a sales system or like I built an automation that automates lead gen, well, here's what to say. You say I built a sales system or like an automation that will automate your lead gen and connect you with your ideal clients. See how when I flip that here and I essentially just translate that into their word. So for example, if you are a software engineer or even if you're just in a university, even if you're studying economics or like software engineer or like computers, anything, right? It can be translated, okay? And let me give you guys another concrete example from someone that I personally know, which is Mayton. And that's a prime example, okay? Let me go to wins and check this out. Oh, wow. Aaron just closed his second client. Oh, man. Just like my second client, 3,600. If you guys don't know, I just recorded a video yesterday of Aaron. What the hell? Another client. Momentum building. Tip, niche doesn't matter. Of course it doesn't matter. See, guys, like I always say, it doesn't matter. Just get out there. Please get out there and take action. Like nobody knows if that niche is good or not. See, this is like put me on a spot, right? But let me just walk you guys through this. There we go. So check this out. Yesterday, I landed my first client, $2,000. And this is the one. Then he asked me who I worked with before because you are because you are on the other half of the word, you understand why I'm asking this, right? I told him about the Invention white label case studies. I partnered with MyProcess. If you guys don't know, what I've done is to eliminate the fear and anxiety about case studies, right? So I blocked 2 days off my calendar and I contacted all the previous clients that I worked with. And I said, hey, from now on, my members can use something called white label case studies, where essentially they can say that they partnered with MyProcess, my own company. They can mention that in their case studies to get their foot in the door. Okay, so I blocked my calendar, talked to them. They were like, yeah, sure. Because my clients, they like working with me and they said, yeah, sure, go ahead. I love that you are doing this and we're totally backing you up. Okay. So I told him, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm just starting out. I'm a software developer and I got clients for myself in the past using cold email. And that's when I figured out it works. And the fact you are here with me on a call just shows you prove that the system works. Boom. See how he framed it? See how he translated that into their word, right? So he told me that's completely fine. We are a new startup too. See, people can just spot when you are genuine, right? Like people can just see when you are real. Stop trying to fake it, right? People can just see it because we're humans. We can connect with each other, okay? So like I said, translate that into their words. So if you worked in an IT field, well, you probably know about processes. So you can say, I worked with an IT field, so I understand process automation. And the way I was able to get on a call with you today is because I built a system that automates lead gen. Boom, there we go. And this is how you get your foot in the door. The second thing we're going to be talking about, and this is more of like mindsets really, because you guys have to understand that it's not just about doing the work, right? You need to have the mindset of that person and that identity of that person who is willing to put in the work, okay? So the second thing is everybody needs you. They just don't know who you are. And I wish someone told me this when I first got started, right? Because you guys have to understand that if you don't put yourself out there, nobody's gonna know you are there, okay? Skills don't equal money, but skills plus visibility equals a ton of money. And the reason I'm talking about this is because it's really, really important. And I'm sick and tired of all these creators who talk about automation, but they don't actually explain and show you the back and bones of building an automation business, right? Or in any business in general, because there's a lot of things that goes into it. And one of the main thing is basically shaping your identity, an identity of someone who wants to achieve what they want in life, which is essentially what you want, which is location freedom, financial freedom, etc., and being able to take care of yourself and also your family, okay? So we need to tackle the problem from the root, because as you guys always hear me say, identity is the root of all mental. So we need to tackle the problem from what? The root, okay? So this is called first principle thinking. Now, I know you might be wondering inside, well, what is first principle thinking? Well, it's very, very simple. It's just breaking down problems into their first basic fundamentals, okay? And let me give you guys an example. So Elon Musk, when he wanted to basically build Tesla and build electric cars, right? So he thought about it, and it is extremely expensive to build electric cars simply because the batteries are super expensive. So what he's done is he implemented first principle thinking, and he talks about it in multiple interviews. I would highly recommend you guys watch these interviews. And he said, well, let's break it down in terms of like first principles. How much does it cost to build your own battery? Can we make the cost lower? Can we build our own, right? And this is exactly what he's done. And now Tesla is crushing it. So you don't go into the middle of that problem. Well, you go to the root of it, because the root is going to snowball into everything, which is why I'm emphasizing for you guys to implement an identity of a successful agency or an automation business owner in general. Because I'm assuming that you're watching this and you actually want to build a business. You don't want to be just a glorified freelancer who just does one-off projects, because I mean, think about it. It's unpredictable, right? You got 1 month that you're making 1K, the next month you're making $0 just because some random decision maker is not posting jobs, right? This is basically, like, I like to call this a sugar-coated 9 to 5, okay? This is basically like a 9 to 5, okay? Because someone is literally controlling your income just based off their job postings on these platforms such as Upwork or Fiverr, okay? Which is unpredictable, and it's actually scary, okay, when you really think about it. So going back to our point, everybody needs you. They just don't know who you are. What it means is you need to get yourself out there and do outreach. You need to be reaching out to people, right? You need to be going out, like literally like exerting a calorific energy into the universe, right? By your actions. And these actions, let me just give you the action that you should be doing. Let me tell you exactly what I've done to go from 0 to 25K, because there's no difference between 10K, from 0 to 10K to 0 to 25K, okay? So from 0 to 25K, the only thing you should be doing in your daily routine, right? My daily routine that actually like got me to 25K is basically outreach, right? So my first part of the day would be just outreach. So outreach and basically trying to sell automation, trying to sell sales systems to people, because this is directly impacting my revenue. Okay, because if I sell, I make money, right? And the way I'm going to make money is by conversations. And the way I'm going to get into these conversations and into that room where there's people who are going to pay me, well, by outreach, because people are not just going to come to me. I need to come to them, right? This is how they do it, right? I mean, think about it. Like, this is how it's been from the beginning of the time. Like, back then, we had people would go into rooms and they would meet, shake hands, right? And they present a deal and they talk, and the other party just makes money. Well, now we have Zoom, when people can just pay you off the internet from like the other part of the world, right? The first part of my day was outreach. The second part of my day would be basically calls with prospects that are interested in my sales systems, okay? So basically closing them and making money. And at the end of the day, that's when I focus on delivery, which is a big problem, because people, like I see a lot of people, and I've done this, like I've done this dumb mistake so many times where I would get clients and then I would like spend the whole entire day trying to deliver for them, when in reality, you need to think about it. Like, what got you that client in the first place, which is your own outreach. Your own outreach, your top of funnel on top should be priority number one, because that's how you get more clients. Because if you spend so much time delivering, well, now you lose momentum, okay? And what is momentum? And let me give you an example of what momentum is. So there's an object. For example, this pen. Let's say this pen is traveling, right? It's just traveling from A to B. That's their momentum. Well, it's not going to stop. This object is not going to stop. This pen is not going to stop until it gets interfered or touched by an outside force. This is you. Now let's apply it to business. This is you. When you are in business and you have that momentum, you don't want to stop it. It's kind of like a rocket that flies through the earth to escape the atmosphere. It doesn't stop. So recap, you are never starting from zero. You're just starting from your own story. You already have your own accomplishments that you can use and leverage, so you can land high-ticket clients. And trust me, these high-ticket clients, they appreciate it more, okay? Because you differentiate yourself. And two, everybody needs you. They just don't know how you are. So now get out there, take action. I believe in you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.